The silver spur saloon was thick with dust and apprehension. The laughter that usually punctuated evenings in Copper Canyon was absent, replaced by a nervous hum. Silas Blackwood nursed a whiskey, the amber lakewood reflecting a flickering lamplight. He watched the townsfolk, each face etched with a mixture of fear and suspicion. The arrest of old man Hemlock hadn't brought peace. It had only tightened the knot of unease. He was a viper, Sheriff Harding mumbled to a deputy, wiping sweat from his brow. But we finally quieted things down. Silas snorted, taking another sip. Quiet wasn't in Copper Canyon's vocabulary. It was a town built on ambition and desperation, where fortunes were made and lives were lost with equal measure. Hemlock's involvement with Elara Thorne, the woman who appeared to be effortlessly manipulating everyone in town, but exposed the deeper rot. Seems the Rattlesnake Gang were getting paid to keep folks in line. The voice drawled from a nearby table. It was a miner, his face blackened with grime. Who was paying and though? That's the question. Silas turned his gaze toward Elara Thorne. She sat at a table bathed in shadows, a picture of refined composure. Her eyes, however, betrayed nothing. They were like polished obsidian, reflecting the cares around her without revealing a single emotion. He remembered the conversation with Cyrus, hours before the gunshot. "She's got eyes everywhere," Cyrus had warned, spitting into the dirt. "She knows what you're thinking before you do." Cyrus was gone now, eating out in the alley behind the saloon. "A stray bullet," the sheriff had said. Silas wasn't so sure. "Walker's trial is set for next week," the sheriff announced, his voice very audible above the murmur of the crowd. "Assault and attempted murder. Seems he got a little carried away." Walker's face contorted in a grimace. He was a local boy, ambitious and reckless, easily swayed by promises of wealth and power. Silas had always suspected Walker's anger was a cover for fear. That Thorne woman's got a hold on him, a woman whispered to her companion, a voice laced with resentment. She and her fancy ways. Silas knew Elara's influence extended far beyond mere charm. She's got a map tucked safely inside her study, indicating the location of a hidden vein of quartz. Not just any quartz, but one with properties he was only beginning to understand. An uncanny luminescence that seemed to resonate with an inner energy. He's been trying to piece it all together. The missing prospectus, the whispers of a lost fortune, the unsettling calm of Elara's demeanor. She seems to anticipate his every move, to know his thoughts before he speaks them. "You're dwelling on something, Blackwood." It was the sheriff. He seemed paler than usual, his eyes shadowed with worry. Silas could practically taste the exhaustion radiating from him. "Just thinking about Cyrus," Silas replied, his voice low. "A shame what happened to him." "Bad luck," the sheriff said, avoiding Silas's gaze. Silas doubted that. He felt a gnawing certainty that Cyrus's death was part of a larger pattern, a carefully orchestrated series of events designed to achieve a sinister goal. He stepped out of the saloon and into the cool desert night. The stars were brilliant overhead, indifferent to the turmoil below. He headed towards Thorne's camp, his boots crunching on the gravel. He needed to see that map. He needed to understand what Elara was planning. Thorne's camp was opulent, a stark contrast to the rough-hewn cabins of the rest of Copper Canyon. Lanterns cast a warm glow on the manicured lawns and the elaborate gardens. Silas moved silently through the shadows, his hand resting on the butt of his revolver. He found the study window ajar. He slipped inside, the scent of expensive perfume filling his nostrils. The room was richly furnished, filled with books and artifacts. The map was spread out on the desk, illuminated by a single lamp. He studied it carefully, tracing the lines with his finger. The vein of quartz ran deep into the mountains, intersecting with an old, abandoned mine shaft. He recognized a landmark, a narrow ravine, hidden from view, accessible only by a treacherous path. He heard a noise behind him. He turned swiftly, his hand instinctively reaching for his revolver. Elara Thorne stood in the doorway, her face impassive. "You shouldn't be here, Silas," she said, her voice as smooth as silk. "I'm just curious, Elara," he replied, his eyes fixed on hers. "What are you planning?" She smiled, a faint, enigmatic curve of her lips. "Something's better left unknown, Silas." "I don't believe that." She stepped closer, her eyes glittering in the lamplight. "You're a fool, Silas. You think you can unravel my plans? They're just a pawn in a much larger game." She gestured towards the window. "Look outside." He turned and looked. Standing in the shadows, illuminated by the moonlight, were several figures. They were armed and dangerous. The Rattlesnake Gang, he realized. "They're here to ensure your silence," Elara said, her voice dripping with disdain. He didn't need to be told twice. He burst from the study, dodging a hail of bullets. He sprinted across the lawn, his heart pounding in his chest. He reached the perimeter fence and vaulted over it, landing hard on the other side. He didn't look back. He knew he was a marked man. He raced towards the desert, towards the Shebels, praying he could outrun the darkness that had engulfed Copper Canyon. He had a feeling that the true game had only just begun. He had to warn Walker, but he knew that Elara's reach extended far beyond his grasp. The map was crucial, but it was also a trial. The true source of power in Copper Canyon was not the silver or the quartz, but the secrets buried deep within its history, and those secrets were about to be revealed.